Early 2020, a virus that began thousands of kilometers away had reached India. Cities fell silent. Flights stopped. Hospitals began preparing for something the world hadn't seen in a century. Across the country, millions of people were watching the same news.
Let's focus first on India, where the country has intensified its battle against novel coronavirus, declared a global pandemic by the World Health Organization.
And wondering the same question: what happens next? On March 27, 2020, the government announced a new emergency relief fund. It was called PM CARES. The purpose was straightforward: collect donations from citizens and organizations and use the money to fight the pandemic. Within hours, the donations began. Individuals donated small amounts, hundreds of rupees, thousands. Some donated entire days' salaries. Large corporations pledged crores. Sports stars, film actors, government organizations, everyone seemed to be contributing. The fund grew rapidly. Within months, it had collected thousands of crores of rupees. But among the millions of donors, there was someone, Harsha Kandukari, a law student. He was skeptical about this. Just 4 days after the fund was launched, questions started being asked. Harsha filed a right to information request. He wasn't alone. Other activists followed. People like Vikrant, Saket, Samyak, all asking similar questions. How much money was collected? Who donated? Where exactly was the money spent? It seemed like a standard process, but the response changed the direction of the entire story. On May 29, 2020, after almost 2 months of initial questioning, the Prime Minister's office responded, for the first time, officially stating that PM CARES is not a public authority under the RTI Act, which meant these questions did not have to be answered. But why? There was something unusual about this fund. PM CARES was officially registered as a public charitable trust. At the same time, it was chaired by the Prime Minister. It used government infrastructure. The official website carried a .gov.in domain. The national emblem of India was displayed. And the trustees included some of the most powerful people in the country: Amit Shah, Narendra Modi, Nirmala Sitharaman, Rajnath Singh. To some, this looked like a government-backed fund, but officially, it wasn't. And that contradiction is where the questions began. In August 2020, a petition reached the Supreme Court of India. The case argued that the fund should be treated as a government fund and therefore should be audited and fully transparent. But the court ruled otherwise. It stated that PM CARES is a voluntary charitable trust, not part of the government budget, and because of that, there was no requirement for an audit by the Comptroller and Auditor General. 6 years later, 2026, a new dimension was added to the debate. The Delhi High Court made an important observation. Even if the fund is considered linked to the government, it may still have a right to privacy. Under the RTI Act, Section 8, certain information can be protected. This came up in a case involving Girish Mittal, who had requested financial documents related to the fund. The court suggested that some of these documents could legally remain undisclosed. Even today, the status of the fund remains unchanged. Reports indicated that questions about PM CARES cannot be raised in Parliament because it is treated as a private trust. The fund is audited, but not by government auditors, instead by an independent private firm. According to official statements, the fund financed thousands of ventilators and oxygen generation plants across the country. These were meant to strengthen India's healthcare system during one of its most critical moments. But in the months that followed, some reports began to highlight problems. In certain hospitals, ventilators supplied under the program were either unused or faced operational issues. In other cases, oxygen plants installed during the pandemic later became non-functional. Conclusion: India already had an emergency relief system. Funds like the Prime Minister's National Relief Fund and the National Disaster Response Fund, which are part of the official government framework. These funds are audited by government authorities and fall under transparency mechanisms like public accountability. PM CARES was different. It was created outside that system, structured as a public charitable trust, designed to collect donations quickly without the layers of government procedure. If detailed disclosures are not mandatory, it becomes harder for the public to track exactly how funds are used. Government funds are typically audited by public institutions. In this case, audits are handled privately, which changes the level of public oversight. Even when funds are allocated, the final outcome depends on execution. Reports of unused equipment or infrastructure challenges highlight a different issue, not just funding, but how effectively that funding is implemented. When governments ask for public trust, how much transparency should come with it? Thank you for watching. Bye.